Hey guys, hope you guys are having a great day. We're coming to a close for the week, and apologies for a little bit of the delay. It's been a busy week. For those who have been following on Instagram, they know that I have been spending my first week of mentorship with the new group this week. So between Tuesday, Wednesday, and yesterday, I have been doing a lot of education time with them as well as streaming with them. So it's taken obviously the only little spare time I would have had to doing these recordings. So it's been a little bit tough. I also had some tech issues as well here and there, and it's just one of those things where I'll probably have to buy some new stuff to resolve this, but for now I'll deal with it as is. But I want to provide a recap actually of how this week is finishing off with the MNQ series. First and foremost, I will start by saying that we managed to get to the stage of a payout, which is super exciting. So for if this is your first time following, this is for education purposes, and I want to show the community how you could take something as simple as three micros with a consistent system and discipline, and to take yourself from an eval to a funded to a payout. And so, as a fresh reminder, if you haven't seen the whole series already from the beginning, we started off and we took about 14 days to trade the NMQ eval to get it to the funded phase. And since it got funded, which is basically the start of this month here, we spent the past 9 days in total trading this account to get it to the payout phase, right? And so, although the payout that I requested at the end, which I will show you later on, isn't a great amount, there is a reason behind it and there's a lesson to be taught. And so, I'll get to that later. I do owe you the trades that I took the past couple of days that I couldn't get onto recording because of my time with mentorship. So I want to just capture with them in the way that I've dissected the charts to show you kind of what I was doing, what I was thinking, and then of course, as always, I will go over the P&L as well as the dashboard just to show you the stats and all that stuff, so you can kind of see where we're at with that, and then I will go on to talk about what the payout would look like, right? So okay, so just diving right into this right now. So this was Wednesday's price action. So Wednesday was a little tricky, to be honest. In general, I would say I'll start by saying that this week has been a little tricky because I found that the moves weren't happening during the first couple hours of the day in the way that I had prior in these past few weeks. And I want to note this because this is one of those things where, as traders, it's important for us to also identify is that if we naturally normally trade only for specific hours of the day and you just don't have those setups, it's obviously not healthy to try to force trades, right? And so I think that some of the challenges I had on Wednesday and Thursday was because the moves that I wanted actually happened more later on in the day. And although there were still setups that presented themselves, they obviously didn't get the follow through I wanted until much later on. So I want to preface that as that's been a theme this week from what I've noticed so far. So with that said, I'll kind of dive into this, right? So the first trade of the day, I mean, you can see that we were ranging. We had some really strong news, and when we opened, we kind of just took a really strong pull back to this channel that I drawn here. And we moved our way back up. We consolidated up here. We came back down, and then, excuse me, sorry. I really liked the setup here. We kind of held here with the double bottom pattern here, and we moved to the upside. I trimmed two of my three contracts up here for 30 points, and then the last contract actually got stopped out because we didn't end up getting any follow through here. Later on in the day, not too long after, I saw another one here where I took an entry bar, and this was one of the ones where I actually, in full transparency, this is one of those things where it's like I actually fell victim to the thing that I preach a lot about, which is like to really just focus on structure and focus on the chart. I was so obsessed with trying to make sure that I can show you on YouTube that, I would stick to the consistency of, risk 30 points, capture 30 points, that type of thing, right? And so over here, I remember saying that, like, you know what, I should probably just take for 25 points because it's too risky to hold for more than that. And I was right. And so unfortunately, I did try holding. I did not adjust the price target when I should have. So this wick right here, so you can see my entry bar here, this wick right here, about right at this spot, which is where I would have wanted to put my target, with 25 points. Why I want to set my target here was because we had a lower high here, which is a kind of like a structural, it'd be a structural change if we can actually break above. But I had an inkling that we were going to be holding back here. And so I wanted to go for 25 points. And in the original recording, you would have seen my efforts because I did drag my target there. And then I said, you know what, for the sake of YouTube, I should just stick to the 30 points. And I moved it back up, which was like really poor decision making on my part, but it is what it is. It's part of the game, right? It did end up pulling back and stopping me out on all three of the micros. And so at this point in time in the day, it wasn't really looking great for me. I think for the most part, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to come back and see if we have an opportunity later on in the day. And so later on in the day during power hour, we came back down, and this was kind of a steep pull down, right? But we kind of held the level here. And so I basically took the potential higher low here off the engulfing candle here. I entered the bar, and then I closed out for 30 points up here. And so by the end of the day, I still ended up closing out the day green, but barely green, right? I think it was like up 50 bucks or something like that, which I'll go over later on the P&L. So that was Wednesday. As we've gone on to the next day here, um, this is where, again, same thing, had some challenges to start off the day. So, yesterday, Thursday, we came down, we tested the channel again, moved back up. And so about here, I was thinking, you know what, maybe I should take this because I feel like this would be a nice double top, but I hesitated for a while for many reasons, to be honest. I did this one as a stream live too, right? So I shorted and sorry, I didn't stream live like YouTube live. I just streamed with the students, right? I entered the short here, got really close, but didn't get what I wanted. And I remember telling the students I wasn't looking for a great deal. I was just looking kind of for like 30 points again, but didn't get that. I got stopped out. And then I tried again here for a long this time because I was thinking like, look, we're holding our prior highs as support, so let's take the long. That failed and I got stopped out. And so this was at this point in time, any trader would have been super frustrated. And I talk a lot about if you traded your plan, that's all you can ask for. You move on, right? And the reason why I say it was would have been frustrating is because we did end up bouncing here, moving back up, and once again we did the same thing. We held the high of day here, and then we pulled up. So this was the move I was looking for, but we didn't get it. We got stopped out first, and then we continued after, which again, it happens. It is what it is. I came back later on. I left the house at this point, by the way, because I had to go drop off my kid for school. But as soon as had the chance to take a look at my screens again, I came back and I liked that we were testing this key level up here, which I had mentioned in the Discord as well, that this was a big part of what I wanted to see if we were to short. And so I like this because both on the 2 minute and for the 5 minute time frame, this look really good for a short. I entered it, closed out for 40 points here. And then for the last one here as well, it did basically the same thing again. We came back up, retested a level here, and took the short and captured another 30 points. And so with this, right, I managed to close out the day still decent. I think, let me double check here. Um, Actually, you know what? Let me circle that back. Sorry. I'm looking back at my chart here, and actually, no, I did not. I did not actually. For this one, I caught for 30 points. That was correct. It was actually this one. It wasn't 40 points. My apologies. I got really worried here, so I didn't. So this one, I think we caught for like 20 points actually. So we caught for 20 points here. We caught for 30 points here. And so we still ended up negative on the day, but it wasn't that, again, it's part of the game, right? So I had a losing day here. And so now we're coming into today, which you already kind of you'll see the video later on. That one was the one that I was able to stream for you guys. So you'll see it later on, but I'm gonna now go from there. Now that I've shared the Wednesday and Thursday that I couldn't catch a recording, I want to kind of share with you guys the trader stats now. So from a dashboard perspective, you can see here, still fairly well, 72% win rate, with a 3.5 profit factor. And as we go into the calendar here, I'm going to zoom in here because I don't know how to look it on your end there. But you can see it, right? So I was up $51 this day. I was down $88 yesterday. So ideally, like the trades, again, it is what it is. It happens, right? That was my one losing day. That's because my losing trades outweighed my winning trades. But then today I managed to capture and close out the little bit that I needed to bring me to $2,197. And so with that closing out the week, I took the opportunity to get my payout and I requested my payout. Give me 1 second here just so I can actually show it to you guys. Um, ba- 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 ba-
The market is closed.
right here. This is me just again just zooming in. I'm just showing you guys. This was the payout requested for $200. And you might ask, why $200, right? And so the reason why I requested for 200 is because I'm trying to share this journey, right? So we started off this account, we spent about $49 USD to buying this eval. And then we took it, obviously, we passed it, which required an activation fee, about $140 USD. So it's about just under 200 bucks. So me coming in here and thinking to myself, like, you know what? I could have requested for 1,000, which is 50% of my balance, but I want to, treat this as a sustainable thing for the long term. Now, naturally for me, I would want to take as much as I can out of the payout in most cases because, if I'm in a deficit or whatever it may be, may want to take some of that payout back to kind of get back the ROI. Um, but I would also say for the behavioral long-term sustainability is that you need as many bullets as you can in the chamber to continue trading for the long term. Because for all I know, next week I could be on a losing streak, and if I have too low a drawdown, I'm going to end up blowing this account, right? And so I withdrew the $200 as a way to provide myself the money back for what I bought the account for. So now I am break even on my investment. Any money that I make from here on out is going to be profit. And so again, I won't change the way I trade too much here. I don't know if I'll continue doing the series because the whole purpose of this was to show you guys how to pass, get funded, and get paid out. I might still do it, but I might up the ante a little bit. I might increase the micro size to maybe either 5 or 6 micros, just to kind of show that evolution of trading as well of what that does to us and how that can fluctuate the P&L. But all in all, yeah, I do want to thank you guys for following, and I hope that this journey has been helpful for you guys, and kind of been able to kind of give you a glimpse of what is possible if you really just take your time. And I'll just share for just transparency as well, because I know some people are always curious, is that if I actually take a look at my overall account, so let me just get rid of that. For the month so far, you can see that the numbers are much bigger because these include my take profit trader trades, which again, like I said, I trade with minis. I don't trade with micros, right? So there is going to be a little bit of a difference there. And so, anyways, I hope this kind of like provides a little bit of sense of like how we start, how we can scale, and how we can get to a stage where we can have confidence. And honestly, if it takes a couple years, 4 or 5 years, it's worth it, right? I think it's important that we don't rush the process because it's only going to harm us more than it's going to help us in the long run. So with that, I'll bring you to the video so that you can see the trade that I took today that brought us to a close for the MNQ series. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I will see you guys at the end there. All right. So as you guys kind of saw from earlier, I managed to capture a short trade where I managed to trim two of the three micros, and then the last micro got stopped out. I did have to hit the road. I had to go bring my kids to school, and I had some work to take care of as well. While I was on the road, I was still taking a look periodically to see if the chart was playing out the way I wanted it to play out. And so I did tell my students over our day three mentorship yesterday about a specific setup that I was looking for, and it did require some patience for it to take place. And so I took that today, and I took two trades essentially on the MNQ after that first one that I taken. So I'm gonna just highlight it because obviously when I was on the road, I'm not at my desk, I can't record it. So I'm just kind of now stitching this video together, hopefully to add a little bit of value to that. So as you guys saw on the NQ and probably on the ES today as well, market was moving fairly sluggishly. I mean, we had a few big candles that kind of came in just from news triggers and what have you. But for the most part, it was fairly sluggish, all things considered. And so the move that I was waiting for, and I told the students that I was looking for us to break above all-time highs, and then I was looking for a retest. And so although the breakup wasn't a solid move up and a pullback, I still looked at this as something that fit my criteria for what I was looking for. And so you can see here I marked on the chart, this is the 2 minute time frame, and then this is the 5 minute time frame. I also labeled it as well. So for this over here, we you can see that we closed above here above the all-time highs, and then we kind of consolidated here back and forth. What I really liked was the candle here, the engulfing candle. So I took my entry for longs here, and so I did this on Top Step. So you can see this on TradingView because I mimicked what I did on my Top Step account for the MNQ series, but I mimicked the trade on my TPT account as well. And so I entered my three micros here as well as my three minis here with my TPT account. And so we rode this up. I trimmed my TPT account here. I did not trim my MNQ though, because again, there were three micros and I was holding for the full 30 points. Um, and so at this point, this is where we got our 30 points, and this is where I closed out. So on the TBT account, I trimmed off one of three, and then I closed out the final two up here, which gave me what I was looking for. This was the 30-point trade longs that I captured on the MNQ. That brought me to about a little over 200, I think it was, in the P&L. And then afterwards, when we came up here and were kind of consolidating, I really liked the way that we closed off our 5 minute bar there. So I decided to take a short trade right afterwards. And that obviously bared well for me. I just scalped this to the downside with the TPT account, and I did the exact same thing with my MNQ account as well. So those are the two trades that I ended up taking to help close out the day. And so, anyways, that's the way to end off the week, which is great to see. And as you guys already saw in the earlier opening of the video, I did highlight that this gave me what I needed to get the payout requested. So I'll leave it at that. As always, I appreciate it if you guys could drop a like and subscribe. I am still trying to grow my presence in the community. And so I know my videos aren't flashy or edited, but mainly because I don't really know how to, and I'm probably not going to spend too much time learning that. But I hope that nevertheless this adds value, and I will continue to share as much as I can. But that does come to a close for this M&Q series, showing you from the very beginning, 14 days of trading on an eval to pass, to then now about, I think it's 10 days or 9 days to get funded and to get a payout. And although the payout's not big, there's still a lesson to be learned there, as I already captured. So I'll see what I decide to do with this. I don't know if I'm going to continue sharing on the M&Q series or what I want to do with it next, but nevertheless, stay tuned in as I will continue to try to share what I can on my end. Thanks, guys, for following, and see you guys next time.